A comprehensive fan-made expansion project for the X-Files Collectible Card Game is underway, and the first of several 180 card sets was recently completed for entertainment purposes only. I'll be talking with this project's graphic designer, and we'll be revealing all the cards in this first expansion, and we'll be discussing what you can expect to see in subsequent ones. Welcome everyone to the Alien Investigations channel. I'm Steven, and you're watching The Magic Bullet. Joining me all the way from France is Guillaume, the graphic designer for the 040460 Season 4 2nd Edition expansion for the X-Files Collectible Card Game, codenamed Believe the Lie. Thanks so much for joining me, Guillaume. This is very exciting to see new cards being added to the X-Files CCG's universe of cards, albeit entirely fan-made and not for profit. And while I may be biased, this Season 4 expansion is, I believe, a faithful extension of the cards that were released almost 30 years ago.
Okay. Well, it certainly is. I remember being so impressed with the cards when you first started sharing them, and I was thrilled when you, David, Nathan, and myself started playtesting them a few weeks later.
This expansion project, as you mentioned, Guillaume, began in 2022 when a handful of us avid fans of this beloved card game banded together to form a creative team that we've recently taken to calling ourselves the X-Files CCG Preservation Society. And credit where credit is due, the title was coined by none other than Mr. David May, one of the game's original playtesters and the last man standing when the game was ultimately discontinued. The members of the X-Files CCG Preservation Society, whom reside in a very active Discord community, link in the description below, conceived a multi-expansion endeavor that picks up where the game left off in 1997, with the show's third season being represented on both the 1013-61 expansion and the unfinished 22364 Scully expansion. The Unofficial Season 4 expansion, which was spearheaded by myself, is composed of 175 cards largely derived from the show's fourth season, plus 5 promo cards. But when it comes to making fan-made, not-for-profit cards for the X-Files CCG, we're not the only game in town, are we?
No, we're not. And we're not even the first to try our hand at making X-Files cards. For instance, the workshop page on the Angelfire website features fan-made cards from 10 years ago. And Alfredo, a member of our Discord community, even created his own 350 card expansion subtitled I Want to Believe.
And Alfredo will totally appreciate that shout out. But tell us, Guillaume, what distinguishes these cards from all the other fan-made, not-for-profit X-Files CCG cards out there?
All of the cards made by the X-Files CCG Preservation Society are peer-reviewed and rigorously playtested. The cards from the first edition of the Season 4 expansion were playtested over a dozen times, and the current expansion that we are working on for Season 5 has already seen 2,000 playtests.
Yes, and playtesting for that expansion will conclude at the end of August. But circling back to the Season 4 2nd Edition expansion, you designed the templates for this set, which is no small task. Tell us a little bit about the color scheme as well as the choice of the graphics occupying each suit.
I have always loved the graphics on the original DVD box set, so when it came time to design this expansion, it was always obvious to me that the background for the Season 4 cards should match the colors of the Season 4 DVD box set. And in fact, the backgrounds for all of our season expansions will match the colors of their respective DVD box sets. The other thing that I want to do for our expansions is to use graphics that are specific to each season. So for Season 4, the main new graphic is the Apollo 11 keychain from Tempus Fugit. And other new graphics include Mulder's Bloody Business card, also from Tempus Fugit, the Rock with the Worms from Tunguska, the Vial with Scully's Ova from Memento Mori, and the Death card from Unrequited.
Right, and the concept of using season-specific graphics dates back to the 1013-61 expansion, of which covers half of Season 3, specifically the Capital Ice locker key from Episode 316, Apocrypha, found on Agents, Witnesses, and Events, and the infamous digital cassette tape from the Anasazi trilogy, as seen in the 1013 site cards and adversaries. One thing I especially like about these updated templates is the sleeker, more contemporary look to them. Would you care to share any details about the design process? How did you go about assembling them?
These cards went through many iterations, but basically I started out with the original cards and recreated every element from scratch. All the key components of the cards are in the exact same place as the original cards, and I also used all the original fonts. Using this process to create templates now gives me the freedom to move each individual element around and to seamlessly integrate new graphics.
Excellent. Good information. As we look at these cards, I may as well talk about my thought process behind some of the game effects. With regards to the witnesses, I wanted to enhance their worth by leaning heavily on the resource mechanic that keeps them in play over multiple turns. For example, you have the skill variant of the 3 token game effect found on the Senator Richard Matheson card, as well as the +1 skill once per turn, as seen with the Samantha Mulder card. Additionally, you have a couple RP generating witnesses a la Kevin Morris, and even a variant of Charlie Toscani. Moreover, I wanted these witnesses to offer different combinations of skills not presently available on any of the witness cards in either the 1013 expansion or the unreleased Scully expansion. With regards to site cards, I also wanted to fulfill the gaps in the prerequisite question type combinations not found in any of the site cards from the 90s. For example, the Tunguska Siberian Forest site card offers a choice of Alien Investigation 5 Plus or Subterfuge 5 Plus, a combination not previously provided which would appeal to players wanting to assemble a team led by Fox Mulder and 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬.
It's very refreshing to have new locations to send the agents. I remember you were adamant about making sure that adversaries were playable on the sites from their respective episodes.
Absolutely. While the premiere edition of X-Files CCG did a fairly respectable job of making sure the adversary's activator lined up with the site card from same episode, there were still a few misfires. For instance, the Hunter in the Dark cannot be played at outskirts of Atlantic City, New Jersey from the episode The Jersey Devil, nor can Poltergeist attack a Costa team investigating Broad Street, Philadelphia from the episode Shadows. Faithfulness to both the commercially released cards and the TV series was a guiding principle for me when drafting these cards. There was no way I was going to have an adversary for the infamous Peacock brothers of Home that couldn't be naturally played on the site card featuring the Peacock's Civil War era farmstead. Same with 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 and his talking tattoo. This adversary should be able to attack a team at Svo's tattoo parlor. Did I succeed on every front? No, but in a few cases I had to weigh the faithfulness against fulfilling the prerequisite question type combination gaps in the sites, as well as the gaps in the adversary affiliation versus their activators. With regards to the equipment cards in this set, like the witnesses, I wanted to fill some gaps in the equipment cards from the commercially released sets. For example, there is no equipment card that adds +1 to evidence collection, and thus we have the autographs from the episode 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. Moreover, there is no existing equipment cards that add 2 to a sciences skill check, hence the biohazard suit from the episode Tunguska. Furthermore, as a nod to some of the equipment cards in the Premier Edition, a couple of these new cards allow the attached agent to access the Field Office Crime Lab, an element of the game that never came to fruition in 1996, but our creative team fully intends to introduce that component in a future expansion. In the broader sense, when I conceived of doing an expansion for the show's 4th season, I wanted to incorporate some key themes and story arcs from the show and inject some new ideas into the game. One of which being a new subsection of the field designated the Gulag. Derived from the thrilling 2-part installments Tunguska and Terma, the Gulag is a place of imprisonment for the investigating agents where, unlike the hospital section, they lose any attached equipment but still generate resource points during the briefing phase. Agents may be imprisoned in the Gulag as a result of attacking adversaries and devious bluffs. The active player may utilize events or equipment with the keyword escape in order to free their incarcerated agents. Another key story arc from Season 4 was Scully's cancer, introduced in the episode Memento Mori. One of the 5 Voyager promotions cards, Infected That You Might Believe, also proved a valuable inspiration for the concept of afflicting keywords that have harmful consequences for the target agents. In this case, an agent afflicted with the keyword cancer will receive 1 point of damage each round that they do not spend in the hospital. This effect persists until a healing card is played to undo that effect.
You introduced a lot of new keywords with this set. We know from interviews with David May that keywords were being downsized and would not have been a serious component of the unfinished 3rd edition. I like that the Season 4 set defies that by making keywords more relevant.
Exactly. Keywords are one of my favorite components of the game and inspire more strategic gameplay. In addition to the aforementioned keywords, there's the abductee keyword, which is only found on one Season 4 bluff, but will be a greater element in the Season 5 expansion. What's more, I wanted to give credence to some of those keywords to nowhere, such as the insanity keyword briefly mentioned in the game effects for 2 of the 1013-6-1 adversaries, John Mostow and the Puppet. Within the Season 4 expansion cards, you have conspiracy cards that afflict an agent with the keyword insanity, which will enable certain adversaries to ignore activator requirements and attack the investigating team. The episode Never Again, wherein Scully is courted by a man who becomes increasingly unhinged after getting a Betsy tattoo, was a fruitful source for developing cards for the insanity keyword.
And the insanity keyword will reappear in later sets, along with other new keywords, and we'll delve further into other keywords like criminal, artifact, mystic, and secret.
Indeed, and these fan-made expansions will include cards that impact some of those standard keywords found on the agent cards, such as FBI, law, independent, and neutral. There will also be cards with game effects pertinent to the obligatory multi and mono keywords found on those site cards. Some examples from the Season 4 set include Detective Hudak, Booby Trap, and Writing on the Wall. Even the keyword electrical found in certain equipment cards will be relevant to certain conspiracy cards. As I mentioned earlier, this expansion, as well as every season-long expansion, will include 175 cards plus 5 promos. In each case, the 5 promo cards will include 1 Fox Mulder and 1 Dana Scully agent card with variant images corresponding to the season from which the expansion is derived, complete with an updated bio. Each expansion also includes a beautifully crafted face card featuring a credits card acknowledging the many figures in the X-Files CCG community without whom this expansion wouldn't be possible. So there you have it. The Season 4 2nd Edition expansion is not only a labor of love, but a serviceable entry into the X-Files CCG's universe of cards, and hopefully those incorporating these cards into their gameplay will agree wholeheartedly.
Well, I hope so too. The 1st edition will always hold a special place in my heart, but I believe we've managed to take it one step further with this 2nd edition.
I couldn't agree more, and the proverbial blood and sweat that you put into designing these beautiful cards, Guillaume, is incalculable, and we in the X-Files CCG community owe you a huge debt of thanks for all of that hard work. Job well done. I want to reiterate for our viewers that the Season 4 2nd Edition expansion is the first of many expansions that we at the X-Files CCG Preservation Society are developing. And if you're interested, you can follow our updates both here and in our Discord community, which, again, you can find the link to in the description below. And if you have further inquiries about these cards, you can reach out to me at alieninvestigations19@gmail.com. Guillaume and I will be back with more updates and more awesome creations. There's so much to cover with this expansion project, and we've only scratched the surface. Am I right, Guillaume?
Yes, we're just getting warmed up. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're announcing a giveaway contest in the next episode.
That's right, viewers. The next time you see Guillaume and myself, we'll be unveiling a cool addendum to the Season 4 2nd Edition expansion that I'll be giving away to one eagle-eyed subscriber. And if you're a fan, you won't want to miss it. So make sure to investigate that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And as always, stay tuned for the next exciting issue of the Magic Bullet.